Are you ready to hear about the best garage sale score ever? Sit down and let's get into it. Roll it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to start a new playlist called Storytime, and basically as the name suggests, I'll be telling you stories throughout my time collecting. First things first, if you do happen to like what we're doing here, do think about hitting that like button and subscribing. It really does help. Also, for some that may not know, you're watching footage from the classic G.I. Joe arcade game. So a little backstory here, I'm a deal hunter, so when it comes to collecting action figures such as Joes and Transformers, I like what I call garage sale pricing, compared to collector prices. That basically means that I like adding to my collection slowly over time, finding things as I go at regular prices. Compared to spending what could be hundreds of dollars to fill holes quickly, it works for me, but it may not work for everyone. So today we're going to talk about the ultimate garage sale score that I got a few years ago. So most people in my life know I collect G.I. Joes and Transformers, and this can often work in your favor because more eyeballs out there looking helps in the long run. So one day I'm at work and one of my coworkers mentioned that her nephew is moving away to go to university, and he has a selection of Joes and Transformers he is selling at a garage sale and I should drop by. Now the thing about friends hooking you up is that you really never know what to expect until you show up. So jumping right into this, I show up the day of the garage sale, which just happens to be the day before I'm supposed to go on my honeymoon with my wife. I walk up to the garage and it's jam-packed, full of Transformers and G.I. Joe. This is one of the greatest hauls ever, and at the same time, some of my biggest regret I have related to collecting. More on that later. So let's start the slideshow. First off, let's do a close-up of some Joes. A few highlights include a Viper, Python Patrol Officer and Copperhead, a Listen and Fun Tripwire, Lady J, and a Tiger Force Sky Striker, and of course, I think that's a Straight Arm Hawk, I believe. That poor Crimson Twin, he is in such rough shape. Anyways, zoom out and we have a look at some vehicles. There was a Tiger Sting, a Skyhawk, Python Patrol Stun, and a busted ASP, and the Red Hiss from the Sears SMS set. Some truly nice additions to the Joe collection with that Hiss and the red tripwire. I was never a big fan of Python Patrol stuff, so it was cool to get, but it didn't last long in my collection. Now, on to the main event, the Transformers. There are a few pictures here, so feel free to pause the video if you want to see the pictures in more detail. Unfortunately, the pictures are low quality because this was a long time ago and I can't find a good copy of them. So to kick things off, we have, of course, a Generation 1 Optimus Prime, followed by a whole gang of nearly complete Pretenders. Of course, a Headmaster Chrome Dome and a complete Power Master Optimus Prime there as well. As we continue to pan across, there's more Generation 1 Pretenders. There was a lot of them. A Skylynx, a complete Metroplex, everyone's favorite Blur, a complete Reflector, and Starscream and Thrust. Now, it gets a little more interesting. You'll see a Nightbeat, a bunch of combiner pieces from the Stunticons, Technobots, Combaticons, and even the Seacons. Needless to say, years later, I have almost every Generation 1 combiner. So we finish it off. We see a truckload of Micromasters, including the Countdown base, followed up by a few more Micromasters and Action Masters figures and vehicles. Now, how would you rate this garage sale haul? Now, the one piece, of course, of information I left out of the initial spiel was how much did I pay for this lot. Now, you know that this lot would sell for a ton on eBay these days. Let me know in the comments how much you would have expected to pay for this lot, as well how much you think it would go for in today's market. I can tell you, I paid no more than $70 Canadian, which basically at the time broke down to $50 for the Transformers and $20 for the Joes. Now, for the regret part I mentioned earlier. Two things. First things first. As every Canadian does, we feel bad about things and overuse the word sorry. Back when I picked this up, I felt bad for spending $70 on toys as I should have been home getting ready for my honeymoon trip. So I actually sold a bunch of things to my friend for dirt cheap to try and cover the costs. One got the complete Power Master Optimus Prime for $1. I don't know why. I just didn't like Power Master Optimus Prime at that point in my collecting, as I hadn't yet watched Master Force. Needless to say, I have one in my collection now. I also sold the Starscream to another friend for $1. Again, not sure why. I only added Starscream to my own collection last year during the pandy. I kick myself all the time for that mess. I always remind my friend whenever I can that I sold him a Power Master Optimus Prime for $1. Now, the second part. Being a true Canadian, I felt bad for taking all this stuff for $70, but there was actually more G.I. Joe stuff there that I ended up leaving behind. At the time, I lived in a small apartment and didn't have all kinds of room. As well, would have never thought of buying doubles of items to either army build or sell later. I left behind a G.I. Joe General, a G.I. Joe HQ, regular His Tank, a minty white Storm Shadow, as I already had one, plus a few more items. It was really silly looking back, but there isn't much I can do about it right now. Overall, it was a success. So what do you think of the garage sale haul? Let me know if you found similar hauls or what your best garage sale haul was in the comments. I'll be adding more stories in the future, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any. As well, I have a ton more G.I. Joe and Transformers related content up for you to enjoy. Check out the playlist. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later.